Hello students, welcome to all of you Shiksha 360. Today we have to discuss the chapter number 4 part 3, that is networking system. Clear? So in this session we have to discuss one or two important points which they have already asked in the examination from last 2 to 3 years continuously. Okay, so please be very careful while going through the session. Very important point and theory based points we have to cover. Clear? So in the last session we have discussed regarding the intranet in detail. So from this session we have started, that is regarding the extranet. So the term extranet, basically it is linked with the intranet. Extranet, basically it is an external component of the computer network that allows the trusted outside users to access the intranet of the organization. Clear? So what is an extranet? Basically, it is an external component, or we can say that it is an external of a computer network, basically, that allows the trusted outside users, clear? That allows the trusted outside users to access the intranet of the organization. On the other hand, internet, it is a global network system. Clear? Internet, it is a global network. On the other side, basically, extranet basically only allows the trusted outside users. Internet, basically everyone it is to be allowed here. Internet, it is a global network system and it is available to all. While intranet and extranet are available to the inside users and users of selectively linked outside organization respectively. For instance, whereas your organization LAN or WAN network represents an intranet, the external trusted networks such as RBI, NPCI, and IDRBT or own subsidiaries or sister concerns, which are connected to your intranet for the limited access or flow of data, may be called the extranet networks with respect to your WAN. Clear? With respect to your WAN. Clear? So, which are connected to your intranet for the limited access or flow of data may be called as the extranet networks with respect to your WAN, that is your intranet. Generally, extranets are connected to the intranet. Clear? Generally, extranets basically are connected to the intranet through the routers as well as the network security devices such as firewalls for securing intranet from the users of the extranet. Clear? Such as firewalls for securing intranet from the users of the extranet. Local area networking. A local area network basically refers to a communication network with the following characteristics. Clear? So local area network, basically what it refers to a communication network with the following characteristics. The network is confined to a small area, typically a single building or a cluster of buildings. Clear? So the network, it is confined to a small area, typically a building, single building or a cluster of buildings. Second one, that is the network consists of a local area network, that is the network consists of a shared transmission medium. Clear? First one, basically the network is confined to a small area, typically a single building or a cluster of buildings. Second one, the network consists of a shared transmission medium. Third one, the data rate on the network is high, anywhere basically from the 100 Mbps to the 10 Gbps. Clear? Basically in the case of the LAN, the devices on the network are peers. There, that is, any device can initiate data exchange with any other device. So LAN, it is an increasingly popular way for organizing large and small to get the additional productivity gains from the use of the personal computers. Clear? So a LAN, basically what is that? It is an increasingly popular way for organizations large and small to get the additional productivity gains from the use of the personal computers. Large businesses, government agencies, and the universities have long realized the need for the collaborative computing or people using their computers as a group. Clear? So large businesses, basically government agencies and the universities, have long realized the need for collaborative computing or people using their computers as a group. Today, more and more small businesses, local governments, and the schools are using the power of LANs to increase the productivity and the efficiency. So LAN hardware and the software. The most basic elements of the workgroup LANs are the personal computers. They may either be used by the individuals or connected as supporting hardware. LAN hardware and software, it is designed to connect all the types of the pieces. One of the great benefits of a LAN is the ability to share the computing devices. Clear, one of the great benefits of the LAN, that is the ability to share the computing devices that are used only occasionally. Devices that are commonly shared on a LAN include what it includes. Clear, so devices that are commonly shared on a LAN basically include file servers, printers, modems, scanners, and the like. Okay. So what are the devices? Clear? This is one mark question they have already asked in the examination. So devices that are commonly shared on a LAN, basically what it includes: file servers, printers, modems, scanners, and the like. One can save considerable computing expense by sharing these types of devices over a LAN as opposed to dedicated individual devices to the individual users. Here we can share their devices like the printer. It is to be used by all the employees in an organization. Clear, if there are 10 to 15. And there are not that much users of the computer. Clear? So all computing devices on a network, workstations, printers, etc., are referred to as a nodes. Clear? So all computing devices on a network, workstations, printers, etc., basically are referred to as the nodes. The next group of the hardware it is to be considered is the hardware that is required for the physical network itself. For any node to be connected to the LAN, interface hardware it is to be required. The interface hardware it is referred to as an adapter. Clear, the interface hardware basically it is to be referred as an adapter. So networking adapter are also commonly referred to as the network interface cards or the NICs. Clear. So networking adapters are also commonly referred to as the network interface cards or NICs. The LAN connection for a printer, however, it is referred to as a printer server and not a NIC. Clear. So the LAN connection for a printer, however, it is referred to as a print server and not a NIC to be here. Next point that is which we have to discuss, that is media. Very, very important, that is media and its types of the transmission media, that is guided and the unguided. So mediate is a term that largely refers to the cable or the wire connections together, the various computing devices that make up a LAN. Clear? So mediate is a term basically that largely refers to the cables or the wires connecting together the various computing devices that make up a LAN. So there are many different types in use today. Different media types in use today. First one. So when the data is sent across the network, it is converted into the electrical signals. Clear? So when the data is sent across the network, so it is basically converted into the electrical signals. So these signals are generated as electromagnetic waves or as a sequence of the voltage pulses. That is digital signaling. Clear? Electromagnetic wave, that is analog signaling or a sequence of the voltage pulses like this one. Analog like this one. Digital like this one. Okay. So to be sent from one location to another, a signal must travel along a physical path. The physical path that is used to carry a signal between a signal transmitter and a signal receiver, it is called the transmission medium. Clear? The physical path basically that is used to carry a signal between a signal transmitter and a signal receiver. Clear? Between a signal transmitter and a signal receiver, that is called as the transmission medium. So there are basically two types of the transmission media. First one, that is the guided media. Second one, that is the unguided media. So what is that guided media? Guided media basically are manufactured so that the signals will be conformed to a narrow path and will behave predictively. The three most commonly used of the guided media are the twisted pair wiring, coaxial cable, and the optical fiber cable. Clear? So the three most commonly used types of the guided media. First one, that is the twisted pair wiring, coaxial cable, and third one, that is the optical fiber cable. Clear? Third one, that is the optical fiber cable. So first one which we have to cover here, that is the twisted pair wiring. So twisted pair wiring basically refers to a type of the cable composed of, clear? So twisted pair wiring basically refers to a type of cable basically composed of two or more copper wires twisted around each other within a plastic sheath. Clear? So twisted pair wiring basically refers to a type of cable composed of two or more copper wires twisted around each other. Clear? That are twisted around each other within a plastic sheath. The wires are twisted to reduce the crosstalk that is electrical interference passing from one wire to the another. So there are shielded and unshielded varieties of the twisted pair cables. Clear? There are shielded and unshielded varieties of the twisted pair cables. Shielded cables basically have a metal shield encasing the wires that act as a ground for the electromagnetic interface. Clear? So shielded cables basically, what are that? Shielded cables basically have a metal shield encasing the wires that act as a ground for electromagnetic interference. Unshielded twisted wire cable basically it is the most common in the business networks. Unshielded because it is inexpensive and extremely flexible. The RJ45 connectors, clear, on a twisted pair cables resemble the large telephone jacks. Clear? I think all of you are aware that basically when you are putting your connecting wire in your PC, because at that time there is a connector of, like, you can say, the transparent type, okay, like white color plastic type. So that is to be known as the connector. And what is the type of that? That is RJ45 connectors. Clear? RJ45 connectors on a twisted pair cables resemble the large telephone jacks. They resemble the large telephone jacks to be here. Twisted pair, it is the most common type of the LAN media. It consists of strands of the copper wire twisted together to make up a single cable. Most typically 8 wires made up of a twisted pair cable. This twisted pair cable is then either shielded and referred to as a shielded twisted pair, or STP, or unshielded and referred to as the unshielded twisted pair. Clear? STP, that is shielded twisted pair, as UTP, that is unshielded twisted pair, or UTP. Of the two, UTP, it is far more common and similar to the type of the wire that is used for the telephones in the United States, and therefore it is often to as the telephone cable. Clear? Therefore often to be used as the telephone cable. Clear? So this is the first one which we have covered under the guided media, that is the twisted pair wiring. It is to be either the shielded or the unshielded. Second one which we have to cover here, that is the coaxial cable. Clear? Second one which we have to cover here, that is the coaxial cable. What is that? Coaxial cable, basically this type of cable, it is to referred as a coaxial because it contains one copper wire or physically data channel that carries the signal and is surrounded by the another concentric physical channel consisting of a wire mesh or the foil. Clear? Consisting of the wire mesh or the foil. The outer channel serves as a ground for the electrical interference. Clear? The outer channel basically serves as a ground for the electrical interference. Because of this grounding feature, clear, basically because of this grounding feature, several coaxial cables can be placed within a single conduct or sheath without significant loss of the data integrity. Clear? Without significant loss of the data integrity. Coaxial cable, it is divided into the two different types. First one, that is the thin net. Second one, that is the thick net. Clear? Coaxial cable, it is divided into the two different types, thin net and the thick net. Thin net coaxial cable, it is similar to the cable used by the cable television companies. Thin net, it is not as flexible as the twisted wire, but it is still used in the LAN environment. The connectors on the coaxial cable are called the BNC, twist on connectors. Clear? Like in the previous, in the twisted pair cable, basically, sorry, in the twisted pair cable, that is the RJ45. Here that is to BNC twist on connectors and resemble those found on the television cables. Thick net, it is similar to the thin net except it is larger in the diameter. Basically, it is large in the diameter. The increase in size translates into an increase in maximum effective distance. The drawback to the increase in size, however, it is a lose of the flexibility. Because thick net, it is much more rigid than the thin net. The deployment possibles are much more limited and the connectors are much more complex. Like this way, the connectors. So thick net, it is used primarily as a network backbone with the thin net branches to the individual network components. Clear? So thick net, basically it is used primarily as a network backbone with the thin net branches to the individual network components. Clear? With thin net branches to the individual network components to be here. For all the JAB classes, you can join our special elective IT batch. Next one, that is the optical fiber cable. Very, very important. The last one, that is the optical fiber cable under the wires. So fiber optical cables are similar to the coax, except without the braid At the center, it is the glass core through which the light propagates. The core is surrounded by a glass cladding with a, basically you will understand through these. Like this is the twisted wire cable, this is the coaxial cable, this is the fiber optic, clear, jacket, cladding, glass core fiber, clear, like this one. This is the fiber optic cable. Okay, basically from the images, it is better to understand regarding that. Like earlier, basically presently there are no cable wires. Earlier cable wire, it is the coaxial cable, clear. You have seen in your homes also that presently the cable wire, it is not in existence due to the through the basically Wi-Fi. You can get all the TV channels on your LCD. Basically earlier in the time of the television, basically there are coaxial cables basically to be used for the providing the cable network. So fiber optic cables are similar to the coax, basically except without the braid. At the center, it is a glass core through which the light propagates. The core is surrounded by glass, cladding with a lower index of refraction than the core to keep all the light in the core. Next, a thin plastic jacket, it is to protect the cladding. Fibers are optically grouped together in bundles, protected by an outer sheath. So 10 base FL and 100 base FX optical fiber cables, betterly known as the fiber optics, are the same type of the cables used by most of the telephone companies for the long distance service. As this uses would simply optical fiber cable can transmit the data, clear, as this uses would simply imply optical fiber cable basically can transmit the data over the long distances with the little loss in the data integrity. So in addition, because data is transferred as a pulse of light, clear, because in addition, because data is transferred basically as a pulse of light rather than an electronic pulse. Optical fiber, it is not subject to an electromagnetic interference, clear. So optical fiber basically it is not subject to an electromagnetic interference. The light pulses basically travel through a glass or plastic wire or fiber encased in an insulating sheath, clear. So the light pulses basically travel through a glass or a plastic wire or fiber encased in an insulating sheath. As with the thick net, optical fibers increase the maximum effective distance. Clear, as with the thick net, optical fiber basically increase the maximum effective distance comes at a price. Optical fiber basically it is more fragile than the wire, difficult to split and very labor intensive to the install. Clear, so optical fiber basically it is more fragile than the wire, difficult to split and very labor intensive to the install. For these reasons, optical fiber basically it is used primarily to the transmit data over the extended distance, where the hardware required rely the data signal on less expensive media. Clear? So for this reason, optical fiber basically it is used primarily to the transmit data over the extended distance, where the hardware required rely the data signal on very less expensive media would exceed the cost of optical fiber installation. It is also used where large amount of the data needed to be transmitted on a regular basis. Clear? So optical fiber basically it is used where large amount of the data need to be transmitted on a regular basis. Okay. So this is regarding the all the media that is under the guided media. Twisted wire cabling, coaxial cable, and the optical fiber cable. Next one that is unguided media. That is further that radio transmission, microwave transmission, hubs, bridge network switches and the routers, routers, jack and patch panels. Very, very important, which they have already asked in the examination. NIDS, network intrusion detection system, and HIDS, post intrusion detection system. Clear? So all these things we have to cover in the next session. Clear? All these things we have to cover in the next session. So whatever we have covered in this session, hope it is clear to all of you. So thanks to all of you for joining this basic discussion regarding the wires.